Hans in Luck, retold from the Brothers Grimm by Paul Galdone. Hans had worked 7 years for his master. "Now it is time to go see my mother," he said. So his master said, "You have served me well. Here is your pay." And he gave Hans a lump of gold almost as big as his head. Hans tied the lump in his handkerchief, slung it over his shoulder, and set off for home. As he plodded along with his heavy load, he met a man riding a lively horse. "Oh!" cried Hans, "how fine it must be to ride at ease instead of stumbling over stones with this lump of gold." The man said, "I will give you my horse if you will give me your lump of gold in exchange." "With all my heart," said Hans, "but I warn you it is heavy." The horseman got off the horse, took the gold, and helped Hans up. Then he said, "When you want to go fast, click your tongue and say, 'Gee up.'" Hans rode off glad of heart. As he went along, he thought he would like to go faster, so he began to click his tongue and say, "Gee up." The horse broke into a gallop. Before Hans knew it, he ended up in a ditch. Luckily, a farmer who was walking along the road with a cow caught the horse before he got away. Hans pulled himself to his feet, feeling sore. "I'll never ride a horse again that tries to break my neck," he said. "I'd rather walk slowly behind a cow like yours who gives milk, butter, and cheese every day." "Well now," said the farmer, "I don't mind doing you a favor. I'll gladly trade my cow for your horse." Hans agreed joyfully. The farmer jumped on the horse, wished Hans a good day, and soon rode out of sight. Driving his cow quietly before him, Hans thought of the lucky bargain he had made. "Now I shall always have butter and cheese for my bread, and milk to drink when I'm thirsty. What more could I wish for?" The noonday sun grew hotter and the road lay hot ahead. Hans grew very thirsty, so he tied up the cow and tried to milk her into his leather cap. But not a drop of milk came. Instead, the cow kicked him and he fell to the ground. A butcher who was coming along with a pig stopped. "What is the matter?" he asked. Hans wasted no time telling him. "Have a drink from my flask," said the butcher. "How would you like to trade in that old cow for a fat young pig?" "Heaven reward such kindness!" cried Hans as he handed over his cow and took the pig's leash. Hans jogged along with the pig, thinking how lucky he was. After a while, he met a man carrying a fine white goose. The goose man seemed friendly, so Hans told him all about his lucky bargains. The man told him he was taking his goose to market. "Feel how heavy it is." "Yes, very fine," said Hans, "but my pig is nice and fat too." Then the man glanced around and whispered to Hans, "I want to warn you that your pig may get you in trouble. I just heard that a pig was stolen in the next village. Everyone is out looking for the thief." Poor Hans grew pale with fright. "For heaven's sake, help me! I am a stranger here. Take my pig and give me your goose." "To help you stay out of trouble, I will," said the goose man, and he drove the pig away. Lucky Hans went on his way with the goose under his arm, thinking how pleased his mother would be. When Hans was almost home, he saw a knife grinder singing as he worked. Hans watched him a while. At last Hans said, "You must be well off. You seem so happy at your work." "Yes," said the man, "my work pays well. If you want money in your pocket, you should grind knives, like me. Hand over your goose, and I'll give you a fine grindstone." I would be the happiest man in the world if I always had money in my pocket. Here is my goose." And the man gave him an old stone from his cart. Hans carried off the stone. His eyes sparkled with joy. "Everything I wish for is mine," he said. The stone was very heavy. Hans went along slowly until at last he came to a well. He laid the stone on the edge of the well and stooped down for a drink of cool water. As he leaned over to drink, he happened to give the stone a little push, and it splashed into the well. Hans jumped for joy as it sank. He was so glad to be rid of the heavy stone. "Nobody was ever so lucky as I," he cried. So on he went, carefree, till he reached his mother's house. Then he happily told her of his good fortune. I hope you enjoyed that story. If you would like to see these books uploaded daily, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to check out all the other stories that are already uploaded. Thank you so much for watching.